I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, and under the backdrop of Nancy Pelosi's landing in Taiwan last evening, the time has come.
With this late-night touchdown in Taipei, the House Speaker was greeted by local officials.
This is not a political video, but rather on explaining the behaviors, especially on how Asian culture functions. Why is China so infuriated that the Speaker of the House of the United States, Nancy Pelosi, lands in Taiwan? The history is after the World War II. The people of Taiwan felt that they were evicted out of mainland China, and still they are the legitimate owners of the whole of China. So China feels that Taiwan belongs to them, and Taiwan feels that China belongs to them. Okay, so this is how it's played. When China was weak, countries were willing to take sides. Some sided on Taiwan, and some sided with China. But right now, China is powerful economically and military-wise. People are beginning to, okay, let's not get involved. China's really powerful this time. So people remain neutral, and those countries that decide to take sides, a strong signal is sent to them. By and large, China is showing lots of restraint as compared to Vladimir, who just waltzed into Ukraine. Okay, so let's explain what all these behaviors, and maybe the Westerners can understand a little bit about the Asian culture. So in the days of World War II, where you can understand why Japanese soldiers would kill themselves instead of surrendering. You saw that in Iwo Jima. Instead of surrendering, they killed themselves. They jumped off the cliff. And then in the mafia-wise, they have things like harikiri, and the generals also does harikiri, which is they kill themselves with a sharp blade. So suicide is considered more honorable than surrender. So this word glory and honor is always been repeated and perpetuated in Japanese and Chinese kind of movie. If a person has been killed, the storyline always goes that the son has to avenge the father's death. There are a lot of Asian movies that carry these themes. So the child will always grow up, be a big warrior, and fight and avenge the father's death, and that they will call it fair. Okay, whereas for the Western culture, it's so different. When you watch YouTube videos like fighting in high school, World Star and things like that, you will see that two kids will fight and the rest of the students will surround and cheer them on. And it's always one-on-one. You always hear this, hey, one-on-one, one-on-one. Even this guy has a friend, the friend doesn't get involved because one-on-one and they fight. And the loser can just say, I give up. I'm sorry, I give up. And they can shake hands. This never happens in Asian culture. You need to understand this, okay? This is not what it is in Asian culture. Show me a video in, say, in Malaysia or Singapore or Thailand where they do this. They fight one-on-one and later they shake hands, okay? What happens here is the gang mentality. So if you are one and I have three, we beat the crap out of you. Okay, that is the advantage they want to take. And you can see in videos like in Thailand or in Bali, where there's a club fight, the white guy is much bigger than the locals. The locals are a lot smaller, but doesn't matter. It's a hyena mentality where 5 people would just beat the crap out of the white guy. And even in, wow, unthinkable, they even beat the spouse, a helpless spouse. They beat the crap out of the person. Okay, whether this you call it savagery or what, I don't want to discuss here. You can discuss in the comment. But then I just want to tell you the context, okay? And what is this all about? So in the social context for the Asian culture, you understand there's this word called 面子. 面子 is face. Face say, you give me face. Or if you translate, it's called pride. Give me the glory, the respect, and the pride. Asians don't like to be disrespected. Okay, unlike when you watch US presidential debate, when Donald Trump can say all the nasty thing about Chris Christie, and the next moment Chris Christie concede and he says, I'm not going to run for president. Donald Trump, can I work for you? That's so strange. Really, from where we come from, that's really strange that you can mudsling at each other on world international TV, and next moment, no, I want to work with you. That was the same as Dr. Ben Carlson, isn't it? Dr. Ben Carson. Okay, he wanted to be the vice president or whatever. Okay, so the Western style is we can argue and then we shake hands and bygones be bygones. Okay, now you need to understand the Asian mentality. They tend to linger, the grudge tend to linger on a lot more. Okay, so you see political enemies never really come back to become friends. Only in one extreme case. Anhua belief. Okay, never mind. So they don't ever become friends. They hold grudges for a long time. This is not just in the political scene, but also in the family. That's why you see it's very difficult to reconcile a sibling, a brother and a sister and a auntie. When they quarrel, they take a very, very long time to reconcile. That's why when you say the Asian culture, we prefer not to have a confrontation, because once the relationship is broken, it takes a long time to mend back. If you understand that part, okay? So what China just did was he's telling the US, please don't get involved. It's a quarrel between two siblings and we'll work it out. If they wanted to, they could have intervened, they could have invaded Taiwan, but they don't want to do that, and they just drag things on. Just like the North and South Korea, they're technically still at war, but they never really fight. Okay, so this is what is called this is like a social tension or political tension. And back more to the Asian context, face saving is so important that if you watch this, Singapore got involved once in commenting something about the Taiwan situation, and China immediately snubbed Singapore. And during the Silk Road Convention, where China invited many nations to get involved in the discussion of this new economy, Singapore was deliberately left out. Okay, it's just a very strong signal to say, hey, I'm snubbing you. The next year, when we went back to mend political ties, our Prime Minister, look at this, was given a very insignificant, one of the worst photo taking positions. Okay, so even in Asian culture, you are the host, Xi Jinping, and then your left guy and your right guy are the most important. And then it goes by ranking where you stand, right at the back and right to the corner. You understand this? Now, Barack Obama also got snubbed once because of some tension, and when he arrived in Beijing, they didn't even go to the airport to meet him. They didn't even provide him with a air bridge or a plane stairs down. He had to use the emergency exit from his Air Force One, and it was just a very embarrassing and a way provoking, shameful, a way to humiliate Barack Obama.
But President Obama's arrival did not go smoothly. As he stepped off Air Force One, the red carpeted stairs were missing, forcing President Obama to use an alternate exit typically reserved for war zones.
Days later, the Indian Prime Minister came from India for the same convention, and he was given a full military welcome. So you need to understand the Asian context. So in this case, I think US could have be a bit more sensitive towards how they treated China, because China already gave a warning: do not visit Taiwan without our permission, because we lose face by you disrespecting us, going to what we call a renegade sibling. Okay, and Pelosi outrightly go there. I think it's this American thing where you don't tell us what to do. Okay, so not a good move. Maybe in a week's time this story will be stale, but the lesson which I'm sharing with you remains timeless.